Generic greeting. As you may or may not know, the PPL is taking a week off, because a lot of our managers are really short on time, and several matches needed an off week to be able to happen at all. However, I posted in the PPL group chat, asking if anyone from D1 would be down for a cross-division friendly game during this week off. And lo and behold, we found an opponent. We are facing UnlawfulExile this week. You may know him, he's a pretty big YouTuber and makes cool videos. If you somehow haven't heard of him yet, go check out his channel, there's some quality stuff on his channel. Let's go over the teams real quick. My draft is the same as last week, obviously. Liam actually has my second favorite draft in D1 this season. It used to be my favorite, but then he dropped Mismagius, and now my favorite is Trav's. Mismagius is a witch and dropping it is a sin. But anyway, he has at his disposal, Mew, Mega Venusaur, Mamoswine, Staraptor, Vaporeon, Hitmonchan, Galvantula, Alakazam, and Mile, which is the thing that replaced Mismagius. I mean seriously, this draft is something I'd fucking love to have. Everything on it, open parenthesis, except Hitmonchan, that thing sucks, close parenthesis, is great and I actually really like all the individual ones. So, what are we bringing in this off-week friendly? Well, I'm glad you asked, Evelyn. First of all, this match doesn't affect the league table or anything at all, so the first thing I put on my team was Mr. Meme. This thing has amazing coverage against Liam's team. It's a bit slow, but I feel like that won't be as big of a hindrance this week. Due to its amazing coverage, we've got ourselves an expert belt. The moves of choice are Psychic, which mainly hits Venusaur but also does great damage to Hitmonchan. Then we've got Energy Ball, which is the first of many things I've got for Mamoswine. That thing is something you really can't underprep for in my opinion. Also, he'll probably bring physically defensive Vaporeon to deal with Darm, so Energy Ball will actually do okay damage to that as well. The third move is Shadow Ball. This does good damage to Mew and Alakazam. Lastly, we've got HP Fire to hit Galvantula and Mile. I considered putting Thunderbolt here and I might still change it to that, between me writing this and the battle actually happening. That would hit Staraptor. However, that thing naturally outspeeds us, so I'm thinking it's not going to be a very good idea. As for the EV spread, we are running enough speed to be faster than Jolly Mamoswine, max special attack and put the remaining 76 into HP. Our second team member this week is Von Trier, the Scissor. This set is a bit funky but fairly straightforward. Adamant max attack to hit as hard as possible, enough speed for defensive Venusaur and quite a bit of HP. There's an Oak Berry, which will allow us to live pretty much any fire move, provided we're at full HP. Most likely things with fire moves are Mew, Venusaur and Alakazam. And we've got moves for all three of those. U-turn hits the Psychic types and gains momentum. Wing attack lets me to hit Mega Venusaur. Superpower is there exclusively for Mamoswine. Like I said, you can't over-prep for it. Lastly, there's Defog, which is mainly there because Galvantula exists. Now at this point, we have literally nothing for Staraptor. That thing is incredibly scary and gave me a lot of trouble while team building. Our first solution to the bird problem is AJ Styles, the Thunderous. We've got a Scarf, because I don't want to risk him being Scarf and taking this thing out. Volt Switch, gains momentum and does 110% to Staraptor. Dark Pulse, does pretty good damage against Mew and Alakazam. Grass Knot, kills any Mamoswine that might want to come in on a Volt Switch. Lastly, we have Thunder Wave. This is a bit of an odd choice on a Scarf set, but I want it in case Staraptor gets out of hand somehow. Mainly in the form of Quick Attack, which is actually kind of problematic for my team. Next up, another thing that can help us with the big bird. A very offensive Liepard with T-Wave. We've got max attack and enough speed to outspeed base 100, which in this case are Mew and Staraptor. The remaining 44 are put into HP. Not that it's going to make much of a difference, this is a Liepard. We have Sucker Punch and Pursuit, the ever amazing 50-50 machine. Except by now I think I've learned how to use those moves properly. I hope, anyways. Both of those are mostly there for the two Psychics, but Sucker Punch can actually do good damage to pretty much everything. There's also U-turn, because Evelyn less than 3 momentum. Lastly, we've got ourselves some Yellow Magic. This is mainly for Staraptor but can be useful for Alakazam and offensive set of Mew. At this point I basically felt like the team was done, but I had 2 team slots open. So I decided to just go with the most power I can get my hands on. So, Grace, the Alakazam is coming to face Tom, the Alakazam. Max speed, because I want to at the very least speed tie with his Alakazam. Psychic hits Venusaur and Hitmonchan, Shadow Ball hits Mew and Alakazam, Energy Ball hit Mano and Vaporeon. And then there's Guard Split. That's the reason we have 0 IVs in defense. The plan here is to guard split on Muir Venusaur and then OHKO them with Scissor. It's really gimmicky and I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but this is an off-week friendly so I figured I'd try something fun. As for our last member, I said I wanted power. Smojo, the Darmanitan. Banded Adamant Sheer Force. This thing is going to hurt. Flare Blitz hits everything, except Vaporeon neutrally for really good damage. Superpower can one-shot Mamoswine. Zen Headbutt is there in case I need to 1v1 Venusaur. And U-turn of course, because what would a choice mon be without a momentum gaining move? 244 speed allows us to outspeed everything up to Jolly Mamoswine. Then we have 12 EVs distributed among HP defense and special defense. As for what I'm expecting to face, that's really difficult this week, honestly. Basically, I can't see everything coming, except Mile. Galvantula is somewhat unlikely but in a friendly match he might just go for the sticky web Mamosweep. Now then, the battle will happen in 3 hours for me. For you, it'll probably start right about now. So there's the team he's bringing. All the scary shit is there. And my prediction of not seeing Mile was correct. Damn, I'm good. So, looking at his team, I felt like Thundurus was a pretty good lead. It could either Volt Switch out or kill the Mamo. And that's what he leads with. Now, I wasn't scared of much here, because Ice Shard can't kill Thundurus, as we already know from Kelkside did in week 2. So I go for Grass Knot, bringing him down to his sash. This was spooky. Is an Icicle Crash coming our way? Thank God, it wasn't. He puts up his rocks, which is a good thing to do in competitive games. Or so I am told. Now at this point I figured he would either preserve his mana or go for an ice or rock move, so I switch in my Scissor, which takes very little from an Ice Shard. He switches in his Vaporeon, as I just defog the rocks away. Now, I can't do very much to Vaporeon and don't really want to get Scald burned, so I just U-turn out into Mr. Meme, as he throws up a wish. I just go for the Safe-ish energy ball here, doing okay damage. He baton passes out into the threat bird. I always like seeing baton pass on evolutions. There are no Staraptor switch-ins, Mr. Meme has done about as much as it can. I let it die, Brave Bird just straight up one-shots it. That doesn't actually tell us anything. A Staraptor with 0 attack investment could have done that. Since there's a Mamo around and Thundurus can't freely Volt Switch around, I go into a Liepard to T-Wave the bird. He brings in his Mamo, probably predicting that. Now at this point I was considering the Sucker Punch. However, I figured there was a good chance he might try setting up rocks again, so I just click U-turn to kill him no matter what. He goes for Ice Shard, which does surprisingly little damage, considering Liepard has like 4 defense. Mamo faints, which means AJ can Volt Switch around as much as he wants to. And that's exactly what he does on this Venusaur. Here I thought he'd most likely go for Sludge Bomb or Leech Seed, neither of which Sizz would really care about. He goes for a Toxic, which obviously doesn't affect Sizz either. Now, I'm Oakberry. I can take a hit. I probably outspeed. Wing Attack does a good amount, considering that this is a mega fucking Venusaur. He does pack the HP fire but with the Oakberry, it doesn't take me out. Now I just go for the pretty safe second Wing Attack to finish this thing off. Good job, Sizz. He brings in his Mew and aside from maybe damaging that, Sizz really isn't doing too much for me anymore so I decide to stay in a U-turn, in case he wants to set up or something. However, he just goes for the Flamethrower, killing Scissor. I go into a Liepard, figuring he'd possibly be scared out and just U-turn straight away. That's like the 3rd time I've U-turned on something expecting it to be scared of knockoff. Gotta be Culber again, eh? I bring in Thundurus again, which takes a Dazzling Gleam pretty well. So here I want to get rid of the Culber Berry, which I was fairly certain he had, so I just go for Dark Pulse, which does roughly -7%. He goes for a Psychic, which AJ narrowly lives. Time to switch out and save this for Staraptor. He predicts my switch nicely, roosting up, as I bring in Darm. But we are banded. This U-turn hurts. I bring back in the Liepard, not expecting a Dazzling Gleam or Flamethrower against Darm, which works out quite nicely. Here I can just freely click Pursuit and kill him no matter what. He brings in his Vaporeon and I U-turn out on it, going back into Darm, as he wishes. I knew Darm would pretty comfortably take his Scald from defensive Vappy so this isn't as dumb as it seems. At this point I could spam U-turn some more, which takes out the Vaporeon. I go into Thundurus, knowing that it can do more Volt turn things for me. Lion switches in his Alakazam. This is the time for the showdown. Grace versus Tom. I send in Grace. He goes for Shadow Ball on my switch. Rip Grace. In comes Liepard. At this point I had revealed Pursuit and Alakazam naturally outspeeds this thing so I figured my best play would be Sucker Punch. And that kills. He brings in his Staraptor. I just go for the safe sucker punch, doing a decent pin of damage. His quick attack doesn't kill, so I can just go for another sucker punch next turn, letting Leopard pick up its 4th kill. And that's game. This went pretty well overall, I think. Thanks to Liam and UnlawfulExile for taking my cross division challenge, and thanks to Ryquin for making all my thumbnails this season. I will be seeing all of you on the 22nd of March with the team analysis for our Week 6 battle, where we will be facing the Southampton Sneasels, managed by the Jordies. See you all there.